was bleeding in my testicles, on my throat.
So we'll just walk around with dried fork with you.
Arms dealer and self-defense teacher.
Arms deal. How have you made it to that?
I have an Airbnb in Mordor and live in Elfland.
Karsten, nice to meet you.
I feel like I should have done that.
Yes.
Let's do that again. I need to get. Guys, welcome to another episode of the Mind Under Rocks podcast. I'm Manu, the homeless entrepreneur, and today we have Karsten, who is a tourism developer here in Bali. So, Karsten, how did you get onto this life path, and what brought you here?
It's very interesting. I have never wanted to come to Bali. I had a German entrepreneur that asked me if I would like to open a company with him. He would invest. Then I said, well, I don't have much to give. I have assets, which are like 120,000 euros worth of material that we can use to do that. Then he said, all right, it's perfect. Let's do it. It will be in Bali. And I was like, wait, I'm from Berlin. I'm in Berlin in Germany right now. And you're like, wait, Bali? Where the fuck is Bali?
Yeah.
So I looked up Bali and I said, you're crazy.
Very.
It doesn't make sense from Berlin to Bali. It sounds nice, from Berlin to Bali. Could be like a movie. So I looked at the numbers, saw the amount of tourists that are coming here every year. And the last amount that I had in mind, like 6 to 7 years ago, was 20 million people per year. And 20 million people within 6 million from abroad. So international countries, and 14 million from Indonesia.
Okay.
And I was doing that type of company in France before with 8,400 tourists.
Okay.
A year. And I made 17,000 euros a month. That's not bad. That's not bad. And then I thought like, hey, with 20 million, that could be also nice. And then I figured out what is missing here. What do they have? What's the market? Did a market analysis, saw that there's already 3 fields that were doing paintball. And so I started with paintball. Now I'm continuing with several different activities like beach sailors, semi-submersibles, amphibious vehicles, all USPs that mainly nobody brings in. And I create activities for people that don't have a specific education for that. So in surfing, you need to learn how to surf.
Yeah.
If you go horse riding, you need at least somebody that teaches you half an hour how to do it, and then they take you around with a cord on it.
Yeah.
But those are things where you can just jump in, like you don't need to have a specific training. And that's the good thing about it, because children can do it, adults can do it. And I call it the investment strategy 2.0. Because investment strategy 1.0 is real estate. Everybody goes into real estate. You got a ROI of 15 to 17%. And then you realize that we're only statistics.
Yeah.
And statistics are no real numbers. Because in the year where you plan the project, there's 15 developers that say the same.
Yeah.
And then 43 villas and umalas have been finished in the same month. So the expected revenue was crazy bad. They had expected, for example, for a normal 3-bedroom villa, 22 million per month, and now it went to 12. So it's a lot of property management.
Yeah, it's because there's also the excessive property development that's going on in Bali right now.
Excessive, really crazy.
So what actually got you into this part? Like, were you always a tourism developer before this? What were you used to do before this, as a life like that?
I have a very interesting, versatile background. I did a bank apprenticeship. I studied entrepreneurial studies and business administration. I have an apprenticeship for call center management in Chamber of Commerce. I'm an arms dealer and self-defense teacher.
Arms dealer? How have you made it to that?
My father was collecting arms and armors, and I started when I was a child to disassemble machine guns. So we sat there in a group of 5 people. One had the timer, one had the notebook, and it was like 13 seconds, take it apart, 39 seconds, put it back together, with closed eyes, without closed eyes. It was really funny.
Oh, God.
And so I got into that, and I live next door to the second biggest shooting range of Germany. So I don't really have much of a choice. Or I plug my ears, or I count the euros. And I prefer to count the euros instead of going like, oh, God damn it, call the freaking police because it's loud again. And they exist since the 17th century.
Yeah.
So basically, you cannot do anything against them. Yeah. And it was from the police, it was from shooting clubs, and they had 200 registered clubs. And each club has more than 20 to 40 members. And then I thought, all right, what do you do? Just make some money with it. And then I became the monopolist entrepreneur in that area for selling guns and ammunition.
So is that how you diverted into paintball? Because you can't really have shooting ranges here in...
No, paintball was really something else. I was in America studying.
Yeah.
And I had these two Turkish guys that knew where the waves were for surfing.
Yeah.
And they said, but before we go surfing, we have to play paintball. And I thought like, oh my God, it's ridiculous. I hate it. It's for people that are not allowed to go to the military, but they still want to be warriors. And so I was totally judging. And then they said, well, Karsten, you have the only car. Yeah. And we know where the waves are. So if you want to know, if you want to go surfing, you have no choice. So I went with them and I said, okay, you can play your Rambo shit and I will clean my car. And then there were two buses arriving with Japanese people, all wearing suits and ties and everything. And I thought like, okay, they're lawyers. They're going to close down this place for paramilitary, anti-government activities, which was total bullshit. They took off their ties, put on a suit, put on like a jumpsuit, and then they started to go in the field with this little guy. It's like 1.20 meters, who was having a list, Yakamishi Namamoto. He put them in teams. And it was ridiculous for me, I thought it was Canon camera. Yeah. Because they forced me to go. And then I saw this ridiculous picture. And then I went to the manager and said, okay, you can stop filming now. Yeah. And then he said, wait, this is not, what do you think this is? It's like, yeah, I thought it's Canon camera. And he said, no, it's management training. I said, they're playing Rambo. What is management training for? And they're just shooting each other. He said, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And I said, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about, but it looks like it. Then he said, you know what? It's very simple. Take a gun, take some balls, play. Said, I don't have money. I'm a student. Students don't have money. And then he said, I didn't ask you for money. I said, before we continue to talk, you need to know what we talk about. So he gave me a gun, gave me bullets. And I went into the field and they got shot everywhere. Oh my God. Behind my ear, it was bleeding, in my testicles, on my throat, in my neck. And they were really shooting bad, hard, like 400 feet per second. It's really like if I would take a stone and just hit you with it. Yeah. And I suffered. Yeah. And I said, you just wanted to take revenge because I was arguing with you. You bastard. Yeah. And then he said, no. This was important for the learning curve. In the next game. I said, next game? Never ever you're going to get beyond that field again. And he said, look, it's very simple. You get a Coca-Cola for free now. Relax. Yeah. I will give you $5 each time you get shot.
That's a lot of money at that point, I guess.
And because I argued, I said, I have no money. So he felt like maybe you could trigger me with that. And I felt like, shit, I don't want to get shot, but it's $5 or $5. And then I said, all right, let's do it. And he said, okay, under one circumstance, you have to follow the instructions of the guy that I'm putting with you in the field. And he will help you to survive. I said, hell yeah, yeah. I don't want to get shot. I don't want to get the dollars. I just don't want to get shot. And so basically that guy was giving me an area where I would have to figure out if there's somebody coming in, and he was focusing on the other side. So we were covering each other.
Yeah.
And then we talked, somebody's coming to your area, somebody's coming to your area. And I was watching, and then I saw this guy's mask.
Yeah.
And he didn't see me. And I was like, boom,
splash in his face. And then that moment I was like, yes. You didn't get me?
And I felt so happy. And then it continued. And I shot more people and then took revenge for the pain they caused to me before. Yeah. And it just really motivated me.
Yeah.
And then I realized, damn, this shit is fun. But I still haven't had money. So what should I do? And the manager said, it's very simple. You don't need money to play. You come here, you bring 2 customers that buy 1 box each. I will give you 500 bullets for free, including the gun, and you can play whenever you want. So I became the best salesperson of that guy. I went to upper campus, lower campus, put it on the board physical. I created a forum from the university board for paintball, like groups that we can play. And I just became that salesperson. And every time he got 2 people from me, and then he complained. He said, no, you know what, Cass, he can also bring more. I have a list. And on that list, I see how many customers you brought.
Yeah.
And in the end, you can take whatever you want as long as it's matching the results.
Yeah.
Okay. So I created clubs and we went regularly to events. And then I was recruited by the US Air Force.
Damn.
So they asked me to play with them with the real ship.
Okay. And I say it just got interesting.
Yeah. And I got this laser thing and the helmet and the suit and the M4 with all those laser things. And then they made me walk up a mountain with that gear, which was like sand on the beach, like really like gravel stone, but hurting a lot.
Yeah.
And it went into my boots and it was like 93% air humidity. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was hell. And then I thought, like, you know what, guys, you can stay your Rambos, up to the Air Force, of course. Yeah. And I keep playing paintball because I don't want to go into that real thing. I don't want to die. I don't want to have that. Paintball is just amazing.
Yeah.
And then I came to Germany after the studies and I missed paintball.
Oh.
And then I realized, damn, there must be something like that. And I found tournament paintball, contacted the owner of the field and he invited me. We had a nice talk and then I started to play it. And he realized, oh, he's pretty good. So he wanted to give me a team so that I can compete. But because these guys were criminals, they were having a cleaning company that was stealing cell phones. And then they used the money to buy guns in bulk.
Okay.
They were making ready for the teammates. Okay. Then they sold them for the double price roundabout. And I didn't want to cope with that. So I created my own team with a lot of friends from the Netherlands and the UK. And we played our first competition in the Netherlands. And I also had a French friend of mine there who's actually one of the best players in Euro. And he coached my people a little bit. And then we finished up the third in an open division in the pro division with 200 registered teams.
Damn.
That was the birth of the team Shiatsu.
Shiatsu.
Which is called thumb pressure, which is acupressure.
Yeah.
And the idea was to get the people some acupressure with their paintball guns. Yeah, this is how I got into it. And after a while, I thought, okay, the fun is expensive. Let's make it a profession. Created my first field in France, because in Germany, there was no possibility doing this without a gun dealer license.
Oh, okay.
And at the time, I thought it's just a game, for kids and nothing to do with guns. Why do you need a gun dealer license? And then they told me, yeah, because the energy of the barrel from the projectiles that you shoot is more than 7.5 joules and it's dangerous. I said, yeah, you know what's dangerous? If I shoot someone in his face with a paintball gun, you will not die. If I shoot in the face with a real gun, yes, you will die. Yeah. Makes sense, but with a paintball gun, no matter what projectile you use, the only thing you can do is really hurt someone extremely bad. But or you take the tank and hit someone. No, but in the end, I opened a field in France and with just cold water jump, invested like 20,000 euros with a compressor, with some guns. And then I had my first contracts with a vacation colony from the French SNCF, which is like the biggest train company over there. They have a retreat for their employees. And they promised me 30 customers twice a month. And then I had walk-ons, I had the camping spots coming in, and the first year was amazing. And within 3 months, I had to triple the amount of guns I had at the field. So I had 70 guns in the end.
Yeah.
And I started making a lot of money. I bought a trailer, I bought a little swimming pool, bought a barbecue grill, refrigerator, sold drinks, sold food. I had 7,500 square meters in front of a beach. So when you were shot and you wanted to refresh yourself, you could just go to the ocean.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
It was wonderful. It's still on YouTube. It's like the first field I had called Embassy Painful.
Why didn't you do something like that similar to here in Bali? It's only beaches,
That's the next field that I'm opening in Jimbaran in a couple of weeks. I'm opening 2 new locations. It just turned out to be that these locations approached me.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I'm 7 years in Bali with that, or six years in Bali with that business. And most businesses go broke after 2 to 3 years maximum because of staff reasons, management reasons, organizational structure reasons. And I just managed somehow to survive. And therefore, they're very curious because they know what I'm doing is correct.
So going back to why you actually started, you said that it was more of a team building exercise for those Japanese people, right?
Company management training.
Yeah, company management training. So you see paintball as being a way for people to, give out that stress or, just, relax from all the things that's happening in the world. A place where they can just get away from their worries and, let their rage out is in a similar way that rage rooms work. And do you think it's more important in today's day and age when a lot of people are facing both economic problems and also societal or ecological problems, a lot more issues? And do you think it's turning into a way where people can just, let their stress and anger out about the world?
Um, I would believe it's a mix. Um, Painful is actually restructuring you. It creates a situation of stress which is artificial and not dangerous for you.
Yeah.
So therefore, you get to be able to handle stress easier. Yes, it's a valve, and it
Yeah.
creates dopamine and it creates adrenaline. The adrenaline creates chaos. We know if you have a situation like a bike accident, you stand there like this, "Woo," yeah. But you see and listen to you hear everything. You're like paying attention very much. So it's the same thing with paintball or martial arts. If I hit you in the face, it hurts. You don't want to get hit again, except if you're like masochist or so.
Yeah.
But at the moment, when you have this adrenaline rush,
Yeah.
your body emits chemistry that will make you hear better, see better, and react faster and reduce the pain. So this is what happens in paintball. And it's very, very important we get valves like that because if you do some research, you will find out that most of Americans take Xanax
Yeah.
as their problem solver for anxiety. And what you train with Feingold is just that you have a artificial situation of danger which doesn't exist.
Yeah.
This game, and that situation reprograms your body chemistry. Yeah. Plus, it indoctrinates um, incentives and initiative behavior, and it makes you communicate with your team members. So it melts you together. Paintball is a game that is not only a game, it's, in my opinion, a medical tool to create better human beings.
That's quite interesting. But again, coming back to the point that you were making about the US being addicted on Xanax, do you think that's again like a fact that we have gone into too much of an industrialized area and we're not really pushing ourselves, or we're not in situations where we have these kind of adrenaline rushes anymore, where we're not facing any kind of real danger, and we as humans have evolved, like for millions of years in the wild, where we had to rely on our senses and everything for survival. And now in this industrialized world, we have all the safety and security that's given by civilization. But this also takes away the aspect that we're no longer relying on our senses. We do not have these situations.
Yeah, definitely. It's very necessary.
Yeah.
I believe this should be a basic program for people, not because it's one of my businesses, but because it's true. A lot of people go to the gym. A lot of people play games or search for adrenaline rushes. They do motocross. It's much more dangerous than anything else. Surfing as well. But yeah, it's fun. It gives you this freedom and enjoyment. And as I say, serotonin, other endorphin, dopamine, etc. The paintball is for generations. So you get parents, you get managers, you get women, you get kids that can do it. And all sorts of these games, like Nerf balls, airsoft, gel blasters. But in paintball, it's fair because you can see somebody does it.
Yeah.
And in comparison to gel blaster or Nerf, where you don't have a pain impulse to get better, or laser tag,
Yeah.
this one actually creates something the other sports don't do.
Okay.
And it sounds funny, but you have to feel pain the first times in order to get better. Because when I play professionally,
Yeah.
I get shot 3 times before I play my very best. Because I need that impulse in order to create this chemistry. And as you were asking, I believe this is something that everybody needs in their life in order to get back on their senses.
Yeah.
Because you need to focus, you need to concentrate. I had very much success with ADHD kids because in my personal opinion, there is no ADHD. It's just that there is people that don't know how to teach.
And I also feel like ADHD is on the rise, not just because of, like there's obviously people with ADHD, but I feel like ADHD is being caused because of the world we live in, with social media and short form content and like just these, and like you're always stuck on your phone, you're always consuming. And when you're brought up, from a young age, iPad babies, it's kind of,
Yeah, if it's not interesting, you just focus on something else. Yeah, like, oh yeah, bird. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, oh, I like the water. What were you talking about? It's not interesting me. Yeah, that kid, he paid attention for 3 hours
yeah,
in theory class, and he knew everything afterwards. And then I made him, I gave him a practical lesson
yeah.
for 4 hours. He became the best player. He can play alone against 20 people. 15 years old. It's crazy. It's really crazy. As I say, if you focus, you have too many impulses in your life, too many things that create disturbance. And that's why this is a common thing that happens all the time. And a lot of people really look into chemical stuff, or they try to find solutions for that. And I believe this is a great solution.
Yeah. And not just paintball, but anything, any kind of activity that, gives you that kind of adrenaline rush, that not a fear of death, but at least like reminds you of your own survival instincts in some way. But paintball is a good example because it also helps team building and, it has a lot of other aspects with it.
There's a lot of wonderful adrenaline or focus sports, but like this one is combining a lot of elements. Yeah, this one is very practical. Bow and arrow shooting, for example, is amazing for focus and concentration. If you breathe wrong, if you hold your arm wrong, you will not hit. Even partially golf is a very interesting sport because you're outside, you walk, and you have to focus the body. But it's even more dangerous than paintball, you know that? Because of the swing, swing wrong, you can just hurt your back. And
It's that the golf ball hitting you in your hair.
not even that, you could do paintball with golf, right? You're, and I guess if you're pro ball golfers, yeah, why not? But yeah, it's trick shots. No, and it's just one thing that makes people happy, and it's a no-brainer business. Yeah. And I have other businesses that I'm setting up as water sports activities, like amphibious vehicles, where you do island tours. You start with ATV, driving on the beach, driving through the nature, then you go on the ocean, drive to a reef, get your snorkel out, snorkel a little bit, drive to the other island, have like dinner there, maybe spend the day there, then you drive back. It's just a combined package. Instead of having jet ski, ATV quad plus island trip, which you have to pay separately, it's just all in one package. So that's like another USP product for sales, and many, many more. And the way I do it is I find an investor that is willing to create his existence in Bali, and I provide these tools, of course, with shares for me, with the complete market analysis, with the supplier, with the marketplace, with casual investors. So it cannot be better for an entrepreneur to find somebody like me.
Not a selling here, but yeah,
I didn't mention any company there, but the point is like, what do you want to do when you're an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur wants to build businesses. Yeah, he seeks for opportunities. Yeah, that's the same thing. I'm seeking for opportunities, and I find opportunities that are interesting. Like, let's say if you would find this place and you know it's for sale, yeah, and you know how much they make in return for renting out the room, yeah, would you figure it? I mean, wouldn't you think about being able to buy this and make a business with it and leave finance alone for it?
aren't all the properties in Bali leaseholds though?
Not all of them. You could buy freehold.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
There's a trick how to do it. It's very official and it always works.
Sure. We'll talk to you about that later, of course. But again, coming back to you moving to Bali, obviously it's got to be a huge change, honestly, coming from a much more developed country and then moving here to Bali. So how easy was it for you to, get in touch with the culture and people, and would you want to go back at this point?
Oh my God. Well, there's this way of saying home is where you feel home.
Yeah.
So what makes you feel home? It's feeling free. It's waking up with the sun. It's having good food. It's not having issues with the insurances, with taxes, with any specific thing, or having huge costs. Germany has like 46 to 48% taxes on a single normal person. plus 38% capital revenue taxes, plus 19% general tax when you buy something. And you also have to pay 55 euros per month just for being able to use the internet, because you might be able to access local medias.
Yeah.
So if you come from a developed country, first world country with huge income, you also have huge costs.
Yeah.
So here you have a lower income, but you also have extremely lower costs. And if you make the math, you will realize, oh shit, it's actually not really different.
But not just coming to the cost side of it, obviously the lifestyle is completely different as well.
It's one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bali has educated me that I don't need as many clothes that I had in Germany. It reduces your wish to over exaggerate with your belongings or how the Western media treat us to consume.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I reduce stress here a lot, and I I really enjoy just, taking off my shoes, walking on the beach, feeling the crystal clear sand pushing through my toes. And when I walk too long, I can just walk in the ocean and feel the cold that chills my ankles when they're too hot.
Yeah.
And that in the evening when there is no tourists on the beach. So when you can see the stars or the kites with their green lights and blue lights in the sky at 300 meters in the sky, hey, it's freaking dangerous if you have a helicopter. They had tore down 2 helicopters already. It's expensive, but I must tell you, it's just something that is wonderful. It's just you have an energy in this area which is not existing as in many places in the rest of the world. It's also measured.
Yeah.
And I believe the community is not so important. It's more important how you feel. Community is something you can create. Community is something where you can go in, where people that feel lost meet somebody to hold on to and to reflect. I've been through a lot in my life. I don't really need a community. And I'm also the guy that doesn't need Xanax. I just go play paintball and then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Or I scuba dive. I love scuba diving. The Indo-Pacific was known as being one of the most beautiful ocean in the world, because it's so sad that the garbage coming from here.
Yeah.
They say the water level doesn't go above or beyond 10 meters normally, from the flooding in the ocean, not in Bali. So there's more than 11,000 different types of corals and the most amount of fish in the world in this ocean. This is why the most frequented and most beautiful diving spots are in the Philippines and in the Barrier Reef, and even here in Bali, Nusa Penida, Manta Point, all these areas. And it's very important to protect that, because it's just important for the, how do you say it, natural diversity. No, it's not about the diversity. It's more about the survival of the ocean.
Yeah.
Because of course diversity is nice.
Yeah.
It's just that if you kill that, there is no food for other animals. It's like a circuit.
Yeah.
So it's not only about diversity.
Yeah. Corals also take a long time to regenerate, and they provide like housing for a lot of fishes. So
Temperature is important, light is important, and if there's a lot of chemicals going into the ocean.
yeah, the warming temperatures has been an issue as well. Even like a half a degree Celsius kills a lot of these corals. It's really sensitive. But yeah, that's unfortunately the world we live in. But again, coming back to Bali, what I found is that in the World Happiness Index, there is literally no correlation between higher development rates and more happiness. In fact, it's been the opposite, that after you hit a certain level of development, the threshold in industrialization, the happiness rates actually start declining in more industrialized nations. Interesting. Yeah. And that's why and another example that I found somewhere online is if you look at, have you read Tolkien, the books?
Oh my God, yeah.
So if you were to compare Mordor's GDP, it's completely industrialized, a war-torn country, it would be crazy high. But on the other side, the elves, they reuse their swords and everything. They have they live in the woods. Their GDP would be basically zero.
Yeah.
But think about where you'd want to live, right? Like, would you want to live in Mordor where the GDP is crazy high?
I feel like I have a good answer for that. Yeah. I would like to have an Airbnb in Mordor and live in Elfland. Because in the Mordor, I will make money. And in Elfland, I will spend it. I will enjoy it. So I believe this is what everybody does. They come on vacation, but it should be like that. You should have an apartment in London or in New York, yeah, and rent it out and get your, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000 per month, and then just live in Bali and don't move anymore. It's the easiest and best life, yeah. And you could also be
My fear more than anything is that we as a species have been moving towards more and more industrialization. So now it's Bali, and maybe after Bali gets industrialized, maybe somewhere we go to like Cape Town or somewhere. But what happens after that when the whole world becomes cities and skyscrapers and there's no escape anymore, you know?
I have a big advantage. I'm turning 50 this year. I will not see that.
I'll be long gone before. That's not my problem.
But the problem is if I will be like 120 or 130 later, well, maybe I'll enjoy it. But the thing is, like, I can just move to there's 17,800 islands in Indonesia, so you basically still have a choice to go anywhere you like. No, but yeah, and also they are not all developed. And if you know the right connection, you can buy one and like close up and say, okay, this is me, and the rest, I don't care. I had some farmers living there that help you, and then
Yeah, but that's still self-isolation while the world is going to shit.
yeah, of course, it's protecting yourself. It's your privacy, Of course, you can try to change the world. The point is, it's also democracy. Democracy is an illusion, no matter where you go, every country.
Yeah, and I think like even when democracy was first founded in Greece in 8th, there was actually a lot of debate against it in the sense that okay, if you had let's say a doctor who's giving you really bitter medicine, and a comedian who gives you or a joker who gives you sweets, and they both claim that it's gonna solve the problem, you know. How would a general uneducated public, why would they choose a doctor who's giving them this horrible bitter medicine made out of these horrible tasting leaves and everything when they can just eat the sweets given by the joker? And I feel like we've seen that happen literally in real time with like the US and elections and everything where, you know, a lot of populist candidates are winning with all these, even the UK actually to a large point, where they're making these huge large claims, but they have no intention of following up on it, or no, forget the intention. They have no idea how to actually follow through on it, and they're just saying stuff to get elected because after that's done, they're in power for the next 4 years or whatever, and they don't really have any kind of thing to the people. Yeah,
Yeah, of course, it's a job.
yeah.
It's a job. Once you're in it, you get your pension funds, you get the money support. Well, you get the bribes. Yeah, it's a bit of everything. I always say you live in an ocean where you have to be able to survive. Yeah. You can be killed by the waves, or you know how to swim. And when you know how to swim, you basically get the best. And you can also try to save some people. But in the end, it's just the ocean that will continue to be like going up and down and giving you shit, and you have to cope with it. So the best idea is really create your own little microcosmos. When I'm mentoring people or mentor people, I always tell them there's 3 situations in life that you will face minimum. One is when you don't succeed and you fail with anything, yeah, which will make you very depressed, and it will be your first time where you really go broke or get in deep shit, where you fall on your face. The next time it will happen too, even though you're very careful, but it will happen. Yeah, because somebody else is maybe a better scammer, yeah, or you think you're safe or careful, and if it doesn't happen, you better wish it happens, because that will teach you a lesson that you would normally pay a coach for. Then you fall on your knees. It hurts, but not as much as the face, yeah. And then you realize, oh shit, why again? Like, damn, fool me once, fool me twice, but the third time is just terrible. And that's the point. When you arrive at that third point, you will just stumble because you've been there. You fell on your face, you fell on your knees, and it hurt. And now you you know how to walk on. Yeah. Something happens like that, you go like, okay, block it, continue. This is the way how to deal with it. Accept it. Take next one. Okay. And this is how you grow permanently. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to focus more on yourself, because you're born alone and you die alone. And what you take on the way is your personal choice. So if you want to be miserable, you will be miserable. If you want to be happy, choose people around you where you get the good energy. Always be the dumbest person in the room. Never be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you have an ego issue.
Yeah. And you're also in the wrong room.
There you go.
Yeah. And I think that's also kind of a reason why I moved to Bali personally, because I felt like I reached a threshold to how much I could grow, at least in the part of UK that I was in. And yeah, I think being here in Bali, I'm surrounded by people that, you can look up to, people who are more established, people who have stuff going on with their lives, people who you look up to. And when you surround yourself with people like that, you're bound to improve and grow one way or the other, either through connections or just being around them and just absorbing their information and their knowledge, just like this podcast as well. So, coming back to the actual point of the podcast, I think we should be wrapping up pretty soon. So, Mind on the Rocks is a mental health podcast. So, what are some of the challenges you faced growing up in terms of mental health, and what are the learnings and takeaways that you had, and what is your mantra for just going about your day in today's day and life when there's so many issues, ecological, societal, economic, whatever. The world just is going to shit right now. So, how do you cope with it? Yeah.
It's very simple. Don't watch news. Number two, nobody cares. If you overthink and if you listen to all those noises,
Yeah.
that surround you, you are not able to focus. Yeah. So the best way to cope with it is by focusing on what you want to achieve. Also, I have an organizational management structure that is, I call it time buffer management. So every day when I do something, I select 3 things that I have to succeed in that day. And these 3 things have a 2-hour interval minimum. Sometimes I do 12 things, but the point is you focus on 3 and they have to succeed. And there's nothing beyond that. So my mental programming after that is I'm done with my day.
Yeah.
All the rest is just benefit.
Yeah.
Don't stress out because you've done what you need to do for the day. And all other things that are important, I plan for the next day. And if it gets too much on that day, I reschedule things to the next day. Like, for example, today, I have 3 more meetings.
Oh,
Yeah,
glad you took the time to come here.
well, for me, it's important. And you take your time for the things that are important for you.
Yeah.
And it can be anything. And as I say, focus on these 3 things in the day. Also keep the time in between because you never know what happens. Maybe I fall in love. Maybe I talk to a new business partner. Yeah. Maybe I get Bali and I have to stay on the toilet and I send my meetings, or there's traffic that is crazy blocking the road. These are all unforeseeable things. That's why you need these time buffers. Yeah. Plus, I keep my German mentality. So that means if I have an appointment at 9 o'clock, I'm there at 8:30.
You were here like only 10 minutes before. You should have been here way earlier. So
But now it's a mix. I was Kobe to the Chinese owner about what is here. Then I was getting food for the dog. And I was, like acclimatizing myself to this area. I brought the dog. That's why we don't have barking in the deer. Oh, you put everywhere. It is good. I got some pork, like dried pork pins. So
we'll just walk around with dried fork with you.
great body. There's thousands of dogs on the road. And if you don't know how to behave with them, they're going to bite your feet. Yeah, because they are natural hunters. Yeah, that you stop and you look at them, you talk to them, they're not attacking you. And if you start driving slow, you're safe. Yeah. And if you come to a place and the dog doesn't know you, he does his natural job to protect the house. Yeah. And when you realize, oh shit, he's a friend, to stop the barking. No, as I say, the most important for mental health is I do Pilates every Sunday. I go swimming. I do a sauna and ice bath every Sunday in Ubud. It's a long drive, but I don't care. It's also a good community. I meet with entrepreneurs and business mentors as well. Then I used to go to the gym. I don't go to the gym much more. Because I realize sometimes I go to the field, I take a shovel, do something on the field instead of going to the gym because I don't need to network in a gym. I think I have much more value if I meet people in entrepreneurial events than going to locations where there's good for nothing people. So yeah, not judging anybody who does that. It's entertaining, yeah. Totally fun, why not? But I prefer a different type of clientele. I prefer entrepreneurs that are ambitious, that want to achieve something, that know the difficulties and the success stories that you can achieve, that inspire you to grow your business. As you say, you were here for a specific purpose, and you realize that Bali has a lobby of entrepreneurs that are much more ambitious than the people where we come from. Yeah, sure. And there is also a different approach to growth. So, for example, in Germany, people get jealous. In the US, they support you, but they're not always reliable. Yeah. And here it's like that. It's like, oh yeah, what are you doing? Maybe I can help you with that. No, we work with karmic management. And it's inspiring. And it really is something that keeps me going. And this sorts the reason why I don't want to go anywhere else, at least to live.
Yeah. But just one last point before we wrap up. You said that something about the gym, and that just reminded me. So the gym is also like a more modern, sterilized version of working out. Like, you will look at the olden days, people used to work in the fields or go for a swim or surf. Like, all of these things, like, you still, engage your body in some way. But now you're in a gym where you got these AC, these bright lights, and you got like weights that are exactly measured out, and you got machines to push every part of your body. It just feels like a more, sterilized, more commercial way of, being fit. It's business. Yeah, it is just a business, but, just compare that to paintball. You're still, running around, you're still.
Then afterwards, you cannot move. Yeah, it's more than CrossFit. No, I agree with you. The gyms are businesses. They buy machines from China and they make money with people that actually never come. So you pay your yearly fees, your monthly fees, and then you show up. Some people show up, it's okay. And then you make your money on products, selling protein shakes or selling drinks or whatever, or just memberships, and use it also as a social gathering place. So, that's what they are, like a Body Factory of Skia, Wrong Gym, all these gyms that have that brand already. Yeah. They're social gathering spots. So if you want to meet a specific kind of nature of people, you go to this specific social environment. Yeah. So it doesn't really serve the purpose of being really healthy. Yeah. So I love the people that do the tours to the mountains or swimming or scuba diving.
Yeah, hiking. All of these are just ways you can stay fit without needing to pay for a membership at least.
That's true, but it's a business. Yeah, it is. Like this is also part of strategy 2.0. But here there's a lot of copycat businesses, and copycat businesses is something that Warren Buffett in the shoot tape he said also it makes sense to make copycat businesses, but up to a certain level. Yeah. Yeah, we have more than 40 paddle tennis courts in Germany. Oh my God, yeah. 40 paddle tennis courts. And they're not broke yet. I'm waiting till they're broke, so put a paintball in there. No, but the point is, if you run if you run a gym or if you run any sorts of these wellness centers at the moment, yeah, that's investment strategy 2.0. This is where the revenue normally comes back within 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And not in 3 years with real estate. It's less investment, it's more stable, and in the worst case scenario, you can still sell the assets.
Yeah.
So it's a smart entrepreneurial thing.
Yeah, for sure. It was really nice talking to you, Karsten. Thanks for coming on, and we hope we can have a chat again soon.
Definitely.
This was the 6th episode, or I forgot which episode this is, but this is the end of the Mind of the Rocks podcast. We'll have all the links in the description. See you guys next time. Okay, let's see if it actually